What up, y'all? Okay, so this is part 2 of my spiritual journey. Oh, wait a minute. Look at my shirt. Psilocybin mushroom makes nicer people. We got a lot to tap into with this video. I want y'all to understand this journey in chronological order and also in the way in which I felt in the moment and afterwards. First of all, let me tell y'all about my day before this whole thing happened. A few things leading up to this. One, somebody had written in the comments to me like, hey, I'm kind of on a spiritual journey. I want to incorporate shrooms into it. They wanted to use shrooms to like talk to a dead relative. And I personally was just like, I don't have no experience with that. That's not a part of my journey. I cannot advise you on anything like that. So I don't really know what to say to that. It kind of resonated a lot with me, and it just had me thinking about a lot of stuff, right? It was brewing because I was just curious about it. I'm like, damn, I didn't really think that far into it. I also knew that going to Alaska, I wanted to see the Northern Lights. If you don't know what that is, I don't got enough time in this video to explain it all, but look up the Northern Lights. I want y'all to look up long exposure photography as well. And I also want y'all to just keep in mind that the Northern Lights are also called the Aurora, and that is what I'm going to continue to reference for the remainder of this video. Before I got to Alaska, I had a layover in Salt Lake City. I used the 7-hour layover to go to the planetarium, and going to the planetarium prior to this day literally just made shit way better of an experience, because the way that my mind was able to connect the dots when it came time for me to go see the Aurora, it was just fucking amazing. So keep that in mind. The Aurora, planetarium, long exposure photography, and using shrooms as a part of people's spiritual journey to talk to their relatives. The day of, when I first got to Alaska, I was booking excursions because I did not book them before I left to go there. I knew that I wanted to do a glacier tour. I knew that I wanted to see the Northern Lights and a few other things, so I had made a list. I started reaching out to different excursion providers. I didn't really know how my day was gonna go, but I was like, okay, cool, I'll just shoot out these fillers. I'll make my phone calls here and there, and we just gonna see what we can get into. I decide, you know what, fuck it, I want to do some sightseeing. I want to walk around downtown. I go to the mall. I get a text message. It's around like 5:30 from one of the excursion providers that I had reached out to, and they pretty much called me like, we have an open seating for an Aurora hunt tonight. We're waiting for one more person to confirm. If they don't confirm, we will call you back in order to confirm with you. Walking around downtown some more, so I start going in these little shops. There's like a very big Native American presence in Alaska, especially in Anchorage, in the part that I was in. I get a call back like, hey, the spot is yours if you want it. We're gonna send you a confirmation email. So I'm like, okay, cool. I go to eat. I wrap up at around 7. Yeah, I get a Uber back to my room. They tell me like, hey, they're gonna pick you up at around 8:30 for the Aurora hunt, and your tour guide will be in contact with you very soon. So I had already talked about on Twitter how I wanted to see the Northern Lights, but on shrooms. Yeah, so I ate 8.92 grams of shrooms with some chips. Yeah, them bitches was a bust, and that shit smacked hard as fuck, okay? Then I was like, fuck it. I'm in Alaska, I'm not driving, so y'all already know what that means when I don't gotta drive. We finna take it up a notch. I eat an orange right behind it. I'm not gonna hold y'all. So my tour guide, his name was Diego, but I was kind of skeptical because this is how the Aurora works. So it's not out all the time. That's the first part. The second part is that you have to be in complete darkness. You know how like you can't see the stars in the sky for the lights in the city if you live in a city place. If you live in a rural place, you know how that goes. The darker it is, the better you can see the stars. So seeing the Aurora is a part of that. The second part is that I was in Anchorage, Alaska. In order to get to like places that are just darker with less light, you gotta drive at least like hour and a half, 2 hours plus, like north, in order to see the shit. This kind of why I was skeptical. There's a tracker for it, so it kind of has like its own forecast. And from the way that Diego was talking to us, it just kind of seemed like very uncertain. Like, I don't know, we got to see what it's looking like, da-da-da-da. So it was like, he's putting doubt, but the forecast is saying that it should be out for tonight. You know, like storm chasers? This was kind of like that. I didn't know that it was going to be that at first. Okay, cool. The drive is 2 hours. He's telling us like, my advice to y'all is that that because we're gonna be out for such a long period of time and you probably won't get back to your hotels till like 6 o'clock in the morning, sleep on the way there. Sleep as much as you can. When we get to where the Aurora is, we're gonna be up and out and in the cold, and I want y'all to at least have some type of rest. Y'all know, because I have told y'all, it is hard for me specifically to sleep on shrooms. I have been telling myself, like, I just want to take a nap, because I had literally been up all fucking day. I woke up at 7 a.m. calling all these places, sending all these emails, trying to reach out to people to schedule excursions for that day and the next day, and I was just up. Me up at 8:30. We get to move it 9:30, 10:30. So I'm already in the ass crack hours of the night. I ate 8.92 grams of shrooms, and so I'm finna be up as fuck. I tell myself, like, okay, I'm just gonna try to nap. I'm gonna try to nap. Now, this is the crazy part. First of all, every single time that I've hallucinated on shrooms, it's been things that have been in front of me, like things that around me. Like, I'll see the walls breathing, I'll see like artistic shit. But it was weird because this time when I was hallucinating, it was hallucinations every time my eyes closed, which was like, what the fuck? You know how when your eyes are closed and if you in a dark room and somebody turn on the lights, you can see that, but your eyes are closed, but you can, it's like the equivalent of doing like this. I don't know if y'all know who Eric Thomas is. E.T. the hip hop preacher. I'm pretty sure y'all have heard his voice on literally everything. During my time in college, there was a program called The Advantage, and he would just come talk to us and shit like that. He's very adamant about telling his story. He gonna tell you he love God. He gonna tell you about his life and his journey and how if you really want something, you gotta put in the work to go get it. I'm on this bus and I'm like, okay, I wanna go to sleep. I'm trying to go to sleep, even though in my mind, I'm telling myself, like, I'm not gonna be able to go to sleep because it's just been my experience that when I'm on shrooms, I just cannot fucking go to sleep. I closed my eyes, and the first thing that I noticed, this is Eric Thomas's logo. It was rotating. Blue and pink are illuminating off of this fucking logo. I opened my eyes because I'm like, what the? This is some reverse hallucination type shit. Like, I've never heard of nobody talking about like shit they saw when their eyes closed. Like, yeah, you could be dreaming, but I was not dreaming. My eyes was closed and I was fucking awake. I was awake. Mind you, let me tell y'all how this van is set up. Diego is here. He's the driver. There's a passenger seat. There's nobody in it. All his camera equipment, all that shit like that. Then there's this first row. I'm the only person sitting in it. There's the second row. There's a lady, and then there's her husband. Third row. Well, there's two more people here. There's another two people here. Then in that last row, there's 2 or 3 people back there. I open my eyes because I'm just sitting on a bus. So I feel my shrooms hitting. I'm relaxing, right? But then I'm like, okay, I'm finna try to go to sleep. Now, I want y'all to keep this in mind. There was a smell that was coming from a person. Anybody who knows me, I have a very heightened sense of smell. It smelled like syrup and outside mixed together. The smell was just irritating the fuck out of me. And so also, while I'm closing my eyes and I'm seeing all these things, I started to focus more on my sense of smell. And I started realizing that when I focused on the smell, I couldn't smell it no more. When I did focus on the smell, it would like creep back in, but then I would focus on it some more and I couldn't. So I'm like, am I manipulating my sense of smell right now so that I just don't smell it? It blew me out of my fucking mind. Okay, this is some new shit. We got reverse hallucinations with my eyes closed. Now we got this manipulation of smell, and I'm just like, all right, what the fuck? Okay. So, mind you, we have 2 hours until we get to Denali. Diego stopped for us to go to the bathroom. I got off and I went to the bathroom. That first bathroom stop, shrooms hitting. Do you hear me? We get back on this van. We still heading, trucking up on our way. And honestly, this is the part where my shrooms really started hitting. I closed my eyes because I want to see the rest of my hallucinations, because it was interesting to me. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to sleep. Maybe I done figured out how to control my sense of smell and manipulate shit. Fuck it. What if I could go to sleep on these bitches and still be tripping? But like, I don't know, some type of purgatory ass, half sleep, not sleep type of shit. I don't know. I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go with it. Now, in the midst of this, I did say a prayer because my mind just started going on a loop. The loop was not bad, but my mind just started going on a loop real fast. It started to pick up. So now my thoughts are going fast and I'm like, I don't know where this is going, but God, I trust you, and I'm gonna be vulnerable enough to just enjoy it. I'm not scared, but I'm curious. And with E.T. being my first hallucination, I guess this is that spiritual journey that I just said I hadn't experienced yet. Like, that's how I was interpreting the shit, because why else would I see ET? I don't listen to his, like, I follow him on Instagram, but I don't listen to his content. I'm not in a constant source of absorbing his stories, his messages, his posts, or nothing like that. I do accredit that to being part of my spiritual journey because, like I told y'all, Reverend Moss, he just real as fuck. The deacons that I fuck with for real, the people who are I'm like this with from church, they just real as fuck. ET, real as fuck. And so that being looped in as a part of my spiritual journey, as the things that I connect with, and as a Christian, like, I don't know, but ET was there. It was a comfort. It was cool. I fucked with it. I'm wanting to sleep. I start closing my eyes. To be honest with y'all, I kind of just felt like this paranormal activity type of shit like come over me. You know how you could feel when there is another presence, or like you could feel people staring at you or shit like that. I kind of felt like that, but I never cared enough to open my eyes because I knew where I was. The van had never stopped. I never looked around, but I just felt this presence. And again, my eyes are closed. I just chose to keep my eyes closed the whole time because, again, I really was trying to sleep. I kept my eyes closed and I just felt this presence, and it was just like a hug. And it was very familiar. The hug was very familiar. The presence was very familiar. It was warm and it was gentle. I'm like, in my mind, nobody on this van knows that I'm high as fuck off of these shrooms. A part of me is like, yeah, I do act normal when I'm on these shrooms, but if my trip makes me emotional, I have to mask it, because then I'm gonna have everybody else in my fucking business. I don't want that. I'm sitting there, it was very familiar. And then there was a smell that came along with it. And it was not the smell that was unpleasant, but it was the smell of my grandfather. I refuse to open my eyes because there have been times where my grandfather has visited me in my dream. There have been times where I just felt like I woke up in the middle of a dream while my grandfather was visiting me, and it ended too soon. So I'm like, I'm not gonna open my eyes. I'm not gonna end this. Even if it makes me cry, I'm just gonna enjoy it for the moment. I don't want it to end. I don't want it to end. And to be honest with you, my grandfather said a few things to me. He said, the way you feel is a strength. And there were things that I had been having conversations with myself about that I never talked to nobody else about. That's what kept resonating with me. The things you feel are a strength. He also said to me, I never left you. That's why he gave me a hug. That feeling that I felt, the smell that I smelled, that was him. That's how I took it. That's how I understood it. Now, when I tell y'all shrooms take you to the front door of your issues, I miss the fuck out of my grandfather a lot. I miss the fuck out of my grandfather. I think about him often. And for a good minute, I have been feeling like when I think about my grandfather, it makes me emotional because that's my weakness. And that's not my weakness. That is one of the things that make me strong. The way that my grandfather instilled a lot of stuff in me, the way he made me feel, is not something that makes me weak. It is something that makes me strong. Yes, it is something that makes me emotional because I miss my grandfather a lot. I miss him a lot. Like, a whole fucking lot. But me becoming emotional when I talk about him does not make me weak. It makes me fucking human. He said two other things to me, and it was honestly the comfort that I needed. He just said to me, I love you, keep going, I'm proud of you. And he smiled at me. And I'm not sure if I told y'all, but a lot of times when you on shrooms, your sense of time it feels distorted. A minute could feel like 20 minutes, but I want to say this lasted for like maybe 3 minutes. I just was sitting there on this van, hallucinating off of my ass with my eyes closed, and I'm trying to mask it. And while my grandfather is hugging me and we having this conversation, I could not help but to cry. But I was okay with being vulnerable. Honestly, I had talked to a friend about it after this whole night was over with, and they was just like, well, what do you think that meant? What did you get from that? Honestly, I do miss my grandfather a lot. And so I think I needed it because I miss him a lot. It's days where I wish I could call him and talk to him, but I was okay with the little bit of time that I had. I was in a new place. I was having a new experience, and like, I gotta be optimistic about it. I was never able to travel with my grandfather for real, like go out of town, do all this other stuff. Like in my adult life, there are things that I want to do, and he was not able to do that with me. But I kind of took it as like he couldn't come, but he came. You know, there's one other takeaway from this, right? He said the way you feel is a strength. And to follow up with that, I just started thinking like some people don't feel shit because they so fucked up on the inside. They feel dead inside. That's why they don't feel nothing. The shit you feel is real, and it's a strength because that means that you're more alive than anything. To be able to feel is good. A lot of people don't feel shit, and I feel everything. I feel alive, I feel rejuvenated, I feel loved, I felt comfort in that moment, and a lot of times I don't feel comfort. I felt comfort in a way that was familiar to me, that was soothing, and it was just different for me. So I loved it. I loved it a lot. I take a deep breath, and nobody on the bus notices. Everybody else is asleep except Diego. He has on headphones. That was the first part. After all of that, I open my eyes. I'm just trying to like reset, regroup. I'm happy because I just saw my grandfather. I'm ecstatic that he came to me while I was on this trip, but I'm also exhausted as fuck because I had a long ass day. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to take these mini naps. I'm gonna try to, you know, whatever, but my shrooms is still going. Like my body is literally pulsating. Like I can feel every breath. I can feel every single thing. But we go to a second rest stop. Diego tells us, hey y'all, we about 30 minutes away from Denali and where we're gonna be at to see the lights. I'm gonna start putting gear on because, you know, people were getting discouraged. They were like skeptical, like I don't know, and blah blah whatever. Me, because I'm optimistic, I'm like, fuck this. This nigga do this shit for a living. This is his side job, because I had talked to Diego while we was on the way to get other people. So he gave me some background information that other people weren't aware of. And so I'd say to him, Diego, if you're putting on gear, I want to put on gear too. I want to follow your lead. And so he says, you want to put on gear too? I said, yeah, whatever you feel is necessary to put on, I want to put on as well, because this is not something that I'm an expert on. So I want to do whatever you're doing, I want to do too. He says, okay. Diego gives me gear. He gives me a snowsuit. He gives me a coat. He gives me gloves, and he asked me, do I want a hat? Now I didn't take the hat because I had a hood. I get all my gear and I lay it up next to me, and I'm like, cool. Now everybody else waited till the last fucking minute to get gear, which I thought was dumb. But if I see my tour guide for some shit I never do put a harness on, bitch, I'm following suit, because first of all, safety first, and second of all, bitch, I want to live, so I'm gonna follow directions. I put on my gear, we get there. I'm looking out the window, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, my shrooms is still fucking hitting, and at this point, when my eyes are open, I'm seeing shit be distorted, right? Shit is like waving, stationary shit is like breathing. And so yeah, that's another way to test. Like if you do shrooms and you want to know if them bitches hitting, look at something that is inanimate and is stationary, and if it's breathing or moving, then yeah, them bitches is fucking hitting. I get to looking out the window, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I start seeing lights, and I'm like, I'm hallucinating this shit. This is not real. Then it becomes a consistent light, and it's green, and it's like, it has a pattern, and it's like this, and I see it, and then I don't see it. I see it, and then I don't see it, and it's like a hint. It's like fucking peekaboo type shit, right? A part of me was like, bitch, them the northern lights right there. I never said nothing, but then literally as I was like, get out of this fucking van and go ask Diego, because Diego had got out and set up his camera and things of that nature. And, you know, a part of me was like, let's go ask Diego if you just going to help him, like as your excuse to get out, because you are also a photographer, so you know how to shoot long exposure photos, and that's what we're doing out here. I put all my shit on, and I look at the fucking door to get up. Diego opens the door and goes, everybody get out, the lights are out. I'm like, bitch. Oh! This shit done gave me fucking mutant vision. Bitch, I can see shit that these other motherfuckers can't see. Now, mind you, where we are is dark as fuck. Like, y'all would have to understand how light works in order to capture this. Like, this is what I see on my phone. I get out, and exactly what I see, I said, Diego, they're green, right? He said, yeah. I said, that's it, right? Like this. And I trace my finger in the distance over the shape that I see. And he's like, how can you see that with your, like, have you done this before? I said, no, I've never done this before. Like, this is my first time. He's like, most people can't even see it. Like, they don't see it until I show it to them on the camera. I said, and you're taking long exposure photos, right? He said, yeah. I said, okay, cool. I go get back in the van because other people are like still in there getting dressed, and I'm excited as fuck because I'm like, yes, I'm fucking smart, da, da, da. And they're like, I don't see anything. Like, what do you see? And I was like, so I give them a crash course on long exposure in that exact moment. Like, basically, it gotta be dark as fuck. You only gotta have one source of light. You're gonna take a picture. It's gonna do a time lapse over a certain like 5-10 seconds, and then you're gonna be able to see everything that's in the dark. But have y'all like tried to explain, like use a reference to sparklers and sparkler words and sparkler painting and sparkler pictures? They wasn't fucking getting it, but I gave them a crash course, right? Diego's out there, he's taking pictures, he's doing test shots. Okay, cool. They get out the van, they like, I don't see anything, I don't see anything. And I'm like, Keela, just take a picture on your phone. So I take my phone out, I figure out how to take a long exposure night mode picture on my phone. And I figured out once I did it, this is the picture that I took. And everybody was able to see it on my phone, but literally right in front of them, they couldn't see it. So the northern lights are really hard to see on the naked eye. I kind of felt like I had a fucking superpower or some shit, like, because I'm able to see this shit, and it's like right the fuck in front of me. So then Diego's like, okay, y'all, come on, we gonna start taking pictures. So Diego dug out this little area in the snow for people to go stand. He has his camera set up and he's on the opposite side. People start taking pictures. I take my picture and I show it to them, and I was like, y'all, look. And they like, what the fuck? How did you do that on your phone? How did you do that on your phone? Now, like I told y'all, I'm a photographer. I've never done a long exposure photo shoot. This was really my first one that I did on my phone. I need to figure out how to play with my settings so that I could do it on my camera. I wanted to do that for my 30th birthday with a steel wheel, but I just wasn't able to. First of all, I feel good as fuck. I feel smart as fuck because I just could explain this shit in such a way that's like powerful for me. The Aurora is out right now. If y'all don't know anything about, I'm gonna explain this in a video, but I just want to document right fucking down in the fucking moment. The Aurora is out. I took a picture. Diego took a picture. Diego picture looked good as fuck. And once I took a picture on my phone, bitch, Samsung gang for showing this bitch. But listen, I do have a video for y'all to have iPhones to explain the difference in settings and how to do it. We figured out how to do it out here. I took a panorama, so we gonna see, but the Aurora is bussin'. Oh, I also am off. I'm currently off 8.82 grams of shrooms. I know y'all be like, what she be like? What she be like? This what I be like. Learning shit. I'm not scared to learn. I'm not scared to be vulnerable no more. That shit, that's where I'm at. I'm not scared no more. I'm just not. I'm just, yeah, I'm learning. I like this journey of learning. I like where I'm going with this shit. I like how it make me feel. I like how I can articulate myself, because at one point in time I fucking couldn't. I like the way it make me cry. I like the way it make me feel strong. And I'm gonna tell y'all the few takeaways that I got right now. One, how you feel is a strength. It's certain shit that you're going through in your life that people would never fucking feel. To feel that shit mean you alive, right? But you do not let that shit cripple you, bro. That's all I can say. One, like the way you feel is a strength. Two, my grandfather came to me off of this shit tonight, and my grandfather said the way you feel is a strength. The way you feel is a strength. That's all I can say. Huh?
I don't think it's out.
Did you take a picture? Did you look at your phone? Because the picture in my phone. Okay, go for it.
So I just clicked that one, and then you do this, and it holds it for 10 seconds.
Correct.
Right? Like yours does?
Yeah, I held for 5 seconds. Okay, and then what else did you do?
That was it.
And then let me see what your picture looks like.
Looks like that.
Period, poo. Okay, I know it look black as hell right now. This is the moon. That is the only source of light, right? Y'all see, I am, the moon is now behind my camera. I am in complete blackness, right? I'm in complete blackness. But it don't look black to me. Like, I can see what's in front of me. On my camera, it looks black. It looks like nothing. Even, there is literally, y'all hear this? That's me crunching on snow. You can't fucking see the snow. You can't see it. Like, there's a certain, the shit that I can capture in my camera on night mode is not the same shit is what you're gonna see as my vision, but I have to capture it first and explain it later. That's what I want y'all to understand. So the moon was the only thing that was in color the whole night. Like, that was our only source of light for real. It was so dark that I could see the stars like clear as fucking day. Then when I turned to the moon, I'm looking at the moon because of course people are going up to take their pictures and stuff like that in the little area that Diego dug out, and I'm just so in awe. Like, my shrooms is hitting hard as fuck. I look at the moon and I see the moon, but it's like white, and it's like, y'all know how sun rays look when it's coming off of the sun like this, the sun, and then there's a downward motion of rays. Well, the moon is like here, and all the rays are going like in one direction, but it's only a half circle. Now, outside of that, I saw a layer of pink, I saw a layer of blue, and I saw a layer of green. There were like circles outside of the moon. They could not see that shit, and I'm like, do y'all see these circles around the moon? And they like, no, I don't fucking see that shit. Like, how can you see this? So again, I take another picture. Y'all, this is what I see right now. Now, I don't know if they was really putting two and two together. Like, man, this bitch is either, she gotta be high as hell off of some type of drug, or her vision is just good as fuck. Like, I feel like I was kind of telling on myself with that. Like, y'all don't see this? And so then I asked Diego, like, Diego, do you? And he's like, yeah, I see it. And that's because he has a trained eye. But me with an untrained eye, I'm feeling like I got, like, bitch, I'm the new X-Men. Fuck is y'all talking about? Like, I'm seeing shit that niggas don't see because I'm tapped in a way that they ain't tapped in. I'm motherfucking 8.92 grams doing this shit. I'm not gonna hold y'all. By the time it was my turn to get up there and take my pictures, Diego was like, the lights are dancing. So I'm like, I'm gonna dance with it. Some of y'all who know me or at least keep up with me, y'all know I love traditional African dance. I was learning it at one point in time. However, the stuff that I did know, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. So some of my poses in my pictures are from moves in certain dances different dances that I've learned. I had time to rearrange my hair. I did some Bantu knots. And so I also did one picture where I tried to look like a mushroom. So I did like this. While I was dancing, I kind of felt another presence, but it was like underneath my feet. Like, it's hard to explain. It's kind of weird to explain, but like when I started dancing, I just felt like it got stronger every single fucking moment. There's choreography in my mind from different dances, so I would just do like little stuff like, okay, I'm gonna do this from the line, okay, and then this, and then this, and this would make for a good picture. So I have like poses from where I just stopped midway of the dance. That was pretty fucking exciting. So I got down when my turn was over with. Everybody got like 2 or 3 turns or whatever. I feel like there are a few things that I feel. The things that call you to move. The things that call you to learn. The things that cause you to sit aside your ignorance, do that. And step outside your comfort. Go where it's uncomfortable. Figure out what make you uncomfortable and attack the discomfort. That is what's gonna make you grow. There are things that I don't know, and there are people who know more than me. I can express what I'm comfortable with. I can express what I understand, and where I don't understand, I can request for people to connect the dots. That's literally where I'm at with this shit. I know y'all see this darkness. Y'all can't even fucking see my face. But listen to the shit that I'm telling you. The shit that I'm gonna show y'all. Like, I'm literally sharing my experience. I'm not promoting shit other than fucking learning. Let me tell y'all the shit that I fucking promote. I promote y'all to figure out the shit that y'all don't know about and listen to the people who, like, have y'all own filter, right? Know what works for you, and if things don't work for you, be able to communicate that in a way that's not disrespectful. This is a good experience for me. And the fact that I'm even letting y'all in on this shit, like, I can't tell you everything that I'm like thinking right now, but yeah, this is good. Like, yeah, this is fucking good. This is good.
It's like don't move or get in front
No
of the camera
flash.
right now.
This is what I can show y'all without the fucking flash.
Would you mind taking a step back real quick?
Yes. Fire. They ain't gonna get back in the van to warm up because it's really cold outside. I had been out there for so long, but honestly, y'all, I was so fucking excited and I was so lit that I didn't even notice that my hands was swelling up. Like, from being outside in the cold for as long as I was, like, my jacket was open. I didn't feel none of that shit. Like, I was just so adrenaline on 10, shrooms on fucking 20,000, nigga. When I got down after I was dancing or whatever, I'm seeing these lights, they moving around me. It's an amazing ass feeling. I felt like my ancestors was with me. I felt like all the good jujus that I ever felt from people that I've danced with, I felt like I was channeling that. I had already seen my grandfather, so I was on cloud 9. I never shared this with y'all, but my great grandmother is Native American. I'm gonna do some digging to figure that shit out because I kind of felt like that was the other presence that I felt that I couldn't really put my finger on. I couldn't really identify it, but it was just one of strength and push, and that's kind of what I think it was. At least that's what I'm equated to. I know a little bit, but I don't know enough. But it is something that was already lingering in my mind, so there's that. We was there for a good amount of time. We leave the first spot, and, you know, we driving back. Now, Diego's driving, and he noticed in the rearview mirror that there is a green-ass light, and it is stronger than it was the first time. So he turned around, drive back, pull over into a safe spot. He's like, y'all, the Aurora is right above us. It's even stronger than what it was before. Get out. We all get out. We look up. Now they can really see that shit as clear as fucking day without a picture. If y'all ever played Mario Kart, that shit looked like Rainbow Road. Literally. Except it was green. The curvature in the road, like all type of shit. The stars was there. It was multiple colors. Like, it was way more scenic than the first time because it was like mountains in front of us. It was open road. It was snow. You could see the trees, and then you could just see the fucking lights. And when I tell y'all, them bitches was spinning around us. That shit was raw as fuck. Fire. Oh, yes. Yeah. How long did it take you to learn your settings?
Right there, right there. Oh. Right above us. If you want to see what's actually going on, like, check this out on the camera.
Oh my word.
So, through Wasilla, through the town, there's only one giant band just dancing. Only one, but now that we got here, that kind of faded away, and then it if the moon wasn't out, this would be a lot brighter. So, this is actually a really good show for almost a full moon. You want to give her some room so she can...
That's it. You're fine.
That shit was raw as fuck. That shit was raw as fuck. That shit was raw as fuck. I don't know no other way to describe it, but that shit was raw as fuck. I know y'all probably like, nigga, you was off 9 damn near grams of them bitches. Like, you ain't see that shit. This is what I saw with my own fucking 2 eyes. The moon, even more bussin'. Even more bussin'. And when I tell y'all, I feel like if I ever had to define a spiritual journey, my nigga, that whole shit was it. Every last bit of that shit was it. I done talked to the dead. I done felt my ancestors up close and personal. The Aurora was dancing with me. And now I want to go dig up all this shit about my great-grandmother, who I am 100% sure is Native American. When I was a kid, I remember going to my great-granny house to visit her. She got all her shit for, like, shit was all over the walls, like shit from her tribe. I'm pretty sure she was on papers, like the whole nine. So as I go through that journey, I don't know if I'm gonna bring y'all along with me on that, because that's gonna be very lengthy. But all I'm saying is to say is that if I never had an experience with a spiritual journey, my nigga, that had to be fucking it, or at least the start of it, especially with hallucinating ET at the beginning of that motherfucker. It was exhilarating, it was exciting. I feel a push, I feel rejuvenated. That was fire as fuck. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, comment, like, and subscribe, and I will catch y'all on the transparent as fuck ass flip side. Peace out.